Hello, good evening, and welcome to Iron Port. It is proudly brought to you by Goil Company Limited, West Blue Consulting, Ghana Community Network Services, Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, and Ghana Revenue Authority. Folks, this week we have an important assignment. We have important assignment because Goil Company Limited has done something wonderful, and they want everybody to be aware of this. So we'll be bringing that one to you. Again, quite a number of things are happening within the port and maritime industry. Last week, we talked to you about how intense they are engaging the port community on this coronavirus thing that's hitting everybody, and we are hearing some scary numbers coming from the Far East and all of that. So intensive sensitization going on by the Ghana Port and Harbours Authority, as well as the Port Health under the Ministry of Health. That will be coming to you shortly. And also the Ghana Revenue Authority is preparing journalists and preparing other port users on this Unipass project that's coming in the port. All of that, we're going to let you in on them. Let's begin, though, with e-tolling system that the Port and Harbours Authority is about to introduce.
The Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority will, effective Monday, 10th February 2020, roll out an electronic toll payment system. In this light, the GPHA has engaged the various transport unions, drivers associations, freight forwarders, and corporate organizations, as well as shipping lines who are involved in the hauling of import cargoes from the port and evacuating of empty containers. The e-tolling system is intended to facilitate trade while reducing the time spent in queues during the manual payment of tolls. Drivers and importers would have the opportunity to now pay via their Visa cards, mobile money, and MasterCards to the bank, who would eventually remit payments to GPHA. According to Gavin Amavi, the corporate monitoring manager and ISO coordinator of GPHA, the e-tolling system would eliminate the human interferences associated with paying tolls at the port.
We are looking at electronic tolling to facilitate trade. We do not want people to waste time to go and pay manually toll at other points before they get there, because they have to go and queue, they waste the time.
He continued by revealing that GPHA has partnered GT Bank to put in place a system to conveniently collect tolls from drivers and importers.
You do not have to go and waste time at vending points, say Golden Jubilee or the main gate, and you stand to purchase anything. Now, GT Bank, standing in for us, has come out with a package, and they have been able to introduce a software to be able to take electronic payments from these people.
Some representatives of the GT Bank demonstrated how the electronic payment systems will be used at the ports.
And Ghana Revenue Authority is preparing journalists on Unipass.
The Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority has engaged members of the media on the Unipass Trade Facilitation Tool that would serve as a new customs management system at Ghana's ports and frontiers. Unipass is the product of Ghana Link Network Services and its technical partner, Kupia, a wing of Korea Customs, who have developed a time-tested customs business solution for Ghana. According to a Deputy Commissioner in charge of Policy and Programs, Felix Matekojo, the Unipass is an improvement on the existing system, and the unique thing about it in comparison is the fact that Unipass deploys a system that operates as a single entity to provide end-to-end customs administration system. According to him, this is more efficient and user-friendly.
And for the one, single setting that we use, that the end-to-end service that we have, where you only have to move from one portal to another portal with the transmission problem that we have. Once you all operate within the same system, obviously the turnaround time will be reduced, and by all intents and purposes, you will see that the Unipass is more fluid in terms of the movement of goods and services.
He revealed that about 1,500 clearing agents have been trained on its use, and the Unipass would eventually kickstart soon after a pilot program has been undertaken in Takrady.
We did a test run at Aflao some weeks ago, where we did a test run, so Takrady is going to experience the pilots tentatively next week, that's right. where we are going to do a pilot. Then from the pilot, when all the systems have been fully integrated in a few days' time, they will now go live finally.
The Assistant Commissioner for the Accra Collection of Customs, Emmanuel Oyene, said the speculation that freight forwarders are kicking against the implementation of the Unipass is false, because after engaging them in a sensitization program, members of the freight forwarding fraternity have come to embrace the new customs management system.
I'm telling you on record that if I can attest to anything, at least I can attest to the fact that at the meeting with them at the Kotoka International Airport, they wholeheartedly welcomed it. So if you say that freight forwarders are kicking against it, it's not entirely accurate.
He added that the paperless clearance system in place has enabled some goods at Ghana ports to be cleared within 2 hours and encourage compliance for all traders to enjoy such clearance experiences.
The paperless system came to encourage compliant trade. And so anytime your documents are up to scratch, there is no reason why you will leave the port in 8 or 9 or 10 hours.
Coronavirus is worrying a lot of people. A lot of countries are worried about coronavirus. The Americas and the European countries, the Far East, and everyone is worried. Africa is worried. Ghana is indeed worried. And the Ports and Harbours Authority leading the way, sensitizing all the folks within the port community together with the Port Health and the Ministry of Health. Listen.
The Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, in collaboration with Port Health, have continued the intensive sensitization campaign on the coronavirus in the port community. So far, 9 cases which were suspected in Ghana have all proven to be negative. Seaports can generally be considered as potential gateways for transporting any form of diseases from viruses and bacteria. Hence, the introduction of the coronavirus sensitization campaign being embarked upon by GPHA and Port Health to ensure that the seaports do not become a vessel that introduces coronavirus into Ghana. In all, the team of health workers sensitized members of the fishing community, employees of the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, and its stakeholders, including the Customs Division of the GRA, as well as workers who work in and around the port enclave, with the objective that all people who engage in some form of interaction in the port community are well informed about the disease. Areas visited in a week-long program include the Tema Fishing Harbour, the Golden Jubilee Terminal, the Mechanical and Civil Engineering Department, Fire and Safety Department, Printing Department, the Revenue Center, the Tema Port Administration and Headquarters, respectively. Stakeholders of GPHA who were assembled include the Meridian Port Services, the Ghana Dock Labour Company, the Tema Shipyard, the shipping lines, the Ghana Shippers Authority, transport unions, freight forwarders and customs. The food markets in the ports were also visited during the sensitization program. Dr. Vitus Anabisi, the head of medical services Tema Port, emphasized that Ghanaians, especially those working at the port, should not be complacent towards the prevention of the disease.
Other countries will bring it to us, so it is across the world. So please, let us not stigmatize. All we need to do is get information and protect yourself. If you have to go on a vessel, you don't just go with your bare hands.
He entreated those who encounter ship crewmen at first hand in the port to be very cautious in dealing with them and report any suspected symptoms with health authorities.
Know these cardinal symptoms of the disease. And if you see somebody, a strange person on board the vessel who is showing those signs, please, you have the duty to yourself, to the port authority, and to Mother Ghana to alert somebody.
The director of Port Health at the Port of Tema, Raphael John Marfo, recommended precautionary measures, including the wearing of nose masks and gloves for workers who go aboard vessels.
When you are entering into the vessel, be very careful. The first thing you do is that you are encouraging the wearing of nose masks on board vessels. We are encouraging the use of hand gloves on board vessels, because anything you are going to touch, like I said, touching is likely that you contract the disease.
He indicated that his outfit will also perform rigorous screening procedures at the port on board vessels.
When we board the vessels, we're now going to monitor them closely for 14 days. Granted that a vessel is to stop here for 3, 4, 5 days to discharge goods. After we have gone in to ensure strict screening, we will come back again to monitor. Because within 14 days, we need to see if they are not going to show any signs and symptoms.
The chairman of the Junior Staff Union, Emmanuel Nikwe, encouraged institutions in the port to also provide the necessary logistics to augment protective measures.
To attain that with immediate effect, all these protective measures which have to be put in place should be quickly supplied to workers to help in the preventive measure.
The various assemblies of workers in the port were also guided on how to perform some hygiene practices. A booklet with comprehensive information on coronavirus prevention was also distributed to each person that participated in the sensitization exercise.
Okay, so at the appropriate time, Dr. Anna Bisi as well as Mr. Manfo will be in the studio. They'll be answering some questions from you regarding this coronavirus. A lot of you have been asking some very intriguing questions regarding how we can protect ourselves, particularly those of you who get engaged with crewmen on vessels and all of that. So they'll be here to answer them, God willing, next week or so. And in the meantime, I announced earlier that GOIL did something wonderful over the weekend. They said it was important that they gave honor to who honor is due. That fellow is in the studio this evening, and we're going to have a wonderful chat in line of oil and gas and positioning this country as a hub for oil and gas. So I'm talking about the former managing director as well as group CEO of GOIL Company Limited, Mr. Patrick Kwame Akpe Akoli. Toby, good to see you.
Yeah,
I'm happy to see you, sir.
Yeah, great.
And I noticed that from afar and from your corner in Ziavi, you've been texting sometimes when you are watching the program.
Oh, yeah.
And you've also supported this program for quite a long time before. How are you doing, though?
Oh, fine. I'm very fine. I'm enjoying my retirement.
I see. Well, you look good in the traditional wear. This is the usual chieftaincy attire that you get into?
Well, you know our tradition.
Yeah.
As a chief, you are normally in cloth, and then maybe especially on Sundays and some special days within the week.
Okay.
You are always in cloth. People are coming to you, for all kinds of advices. You are settling cases. So, well.
The whole of Ghana, all the big men in Ghana were at the Movenpick over the weekend, Saturday, to pay homage to you and recognize the good work that you've done for this country. How does that make you feel?
Well, highly honored, honestly. I feel humbled when I saw the generals, all those big generals, General Blay, the former CDS, the current CDS, General Akwa, and then the Real Admiral Yekro, all the big men from the Ghana forces, they were all there, and a whole lot of people. The former board,
that's good.
The former board, they were all there. The current board, I don't know.
That's good. So we're going to let those who are wetting out of this, they want to see exactly what we're talking about. We'll bring you that story. GOIL honoring Mr. Patrick Akoli, the former CEO of that organization. After the break, we'll tell you a lot about that. We'll also tell you a lot about him as a person, and then we'll talk about this country and how we position our country as a hub for oil and gas. And that's what the Port of Takoradi is gearing for. That port intends to be the oil and gas hub of the entire region, and they are making a lot of inroads in that direction. So we'll be discussing that all after the break.
Here's innovation from GOIL that takes you further. New GOIL Super Synthetic 5W20 and 5W30 lubes have been expertly crafted with the latest in liquid engineering technology, highly advanced for modern engines, prolongs oil change intervals, save you fuel, clean, protect, and enhance engine performance. The way engines work has become complex, and GOIL has innovated to stay ahead. Expertly crafted lubricants that work excellently with all petrol and diesel engines of today. New GOIL Super Synthetic 5W20 and 5W30 lubes. Innovation that takes you further. GOIL. Good energy.
Dear valued client, the Ghana Trade Hub mobile app is now live to make it easy to track your consignment and know the estimated duty payable for both general goods and used vehicles. We are pleased to inform you that the Ghana Trade Hub mobile app is available for download on Google Play Store for Android users and the App Store for Apple users. This is the best opportunity for all importers and exporters to know the duty payable on every good under transaction. You can reach the team for inquiries and support by calling +233 242 435 663. Send an email to support@ghanastradinghub.com. To remain updated, kindly follow progress on the following platforms: www.facebook.com/Ghana Trade Hub, www.twitter.com/Ghana Trade Hub, and ghlinkedin.com/in/Ghana Trade Hub. Importers and exporters can download the official Ghana Single Window mobile app, which allows you to track your consignment conveniently and also allows you to obtain your estimated duty for general goods and used vehicles. Please spread the message to everyone importing or exporting. The Ghana Trading Hub mobile app is now live. Download and never be cheated. This is powered by the Smart Ports project under the auspices of the Government of Ghana and the Ghana Revenue Authority. Smart Port, improving Ghana's ease of doing business.
Sase o my kesia ye kan ye hubom ye adwumaden ye be ye kese pa ye nto a ye tuatua ne da no ene ne ye de sisi suku adan ne ayaresabia ade bi yi akwan am ye nya asetena pa ene ne papi eto bi te say withholding tax, income tax, excise tax stamp ene afoforo pi wo ho a ebia na wo mu sembisa fa de wo sawutua nkasa ho enu nti ne ye wo ho ma wo ne se ye beboa wo eto aketewa bia boa mesra wo boa ne pagya Ghana nsi ho ye nto
Welcome back from the break. So in the studio, we'll be assessing Ghana's potential to be oil and gas hub within the West African region. And also, we will be joining GOIL to celebrate one of their own sons, the former MD and Chief Executive Officer of GOIL Company Limited. And the person in the studio that we'll be doing this with is a former MD himself. His name is Mr. Patrick Kwame Akoli. He's also a chief in Ziavi. Ziavi traditionally?
Yeah, Ziavi traditionally. Yeah.
Okay, so you are the chief of that community?
No, we have a paramount chief.
Okay.
And I'm the Ditofia, the landowner.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so the landowner means the entire land?
Yeah. A significant portion of the land of Ziavi is owned by my family.
I see. So we'll be talking to Togbe a lot, but GOIL, your able public relations man, says that definitely you should let the whole country hear the story of our former MD. He was a chief, he struggled like any ordinary Ghanaian, and it's important that other people learn from him. So we're going to let people know about this story. In the meantime, like I said earlier, the entire country gathered at Movenpick, including former board chairman of GOIL, current chief of defense staff, ministers of state, gathered at Movenpick to honor the man who's in the studio at the moment. Let's go listen. When we return, we'll continue.
The leading oil marketing company in Ghana, GOIL, has held a send-off ceremony to celebrate its former managing director and group CEO of the company, Patrick Kwame Akoli, who many touted as having transformed the company during his stewardship. Under his leadership, GOIL constructed 13.5 million litre marine gas oil tanks at the port of Takoradi for bunkering of vessels, and also provided bunkering facilities at the port of Tema, which attracted vessels to the ports, among others. The event, event, which was well attended, was also graced by the Ashanti Regional Minister Simon Osei-Mensah, the Chief of Defence Staff Lieutenant General Obed Akwa, as well as current and past service commanders. Nana Barema Osei-Mensuhini represented the Asantehene Otumfuo Osei-Tutu II. Both present and former board members of GOIL also attended the event, among a host of other dignitaries. The acting managing director and group CEO of GOIL, Kwame Osei-Prempeh, described his predecessor as someone who exhibited commitment and exemplary leadership skills to ensure that GOIL became a household name.
His passion for work, his commitment to duty, and above all, his love for Ghana is the central. We discuss everything with him, and it's always Ghana first. It's always, we have to create jobs for the youth. It is never me. Such is the person that we need in this country.
The board chairman of GOIL, Kwamina Bartels, had these kind words to say about Patrick Akoli.
We looked for a patriot. We looked for a nationalist. We looked for someone who put his nation above every other thing. We looked for a knowledgeable, intelligent, hardworking, and visionary leader for God. And we found that in Patrick Akoli.
The Ashanti Regional Minister Simon Osei-Mensah said Patrick Akoli served GOIL with selfless devotion, dedication and patriotism, which won a lot of recognition for the company.
2016 again, GOIL had the best quality in oil and gas award. CMG Petroleum Company of the Year 2016 again went to GOIL. Then CMG Petroleum Company of the Year 2017. And the third year running, so they won back to back to back. CMG Petroleum Company of the Year 2018.
For his part, the former MD and group CEO of GOIL, Patrick Akoli, said his loyalty to the GOIL company was unquestionable.
I dare say I spent the best part of my working life serving this great company with total dedication, diligence, and loyalty. In harmonizing both responsibilities as a traditional ruler and a corporate leader, my most successful principle was guiding to maintain my values and determination for excellence.
The Ghana Private Roads and Transport Union presented 2 air tickets to Patrick Akoli and his spouse for a vacation in Dubai.
I see. Okay, so that's my guess for the evening, and that was him dancing there on the floor. Mr. Akoli, it was a good night for you, wasn't it?
Oh, fantastic night. A memorable one, of course.
Good. But so how long did you serve with GOIL for?
Honestly, officially, I served GOIL for 24 years. That's counting from my first appointment.
Okay.
But before then, I served 1.5 years as a casual worker there. So
see.
in all, I spent 25 years of my life there.
Interesting. And then as CEO for how long?
I must say 7.5 years.
Okay, so that's almost 8 years.
Yes,
so
yes.
it means that you began from a different political regime and then ended in a different political regime.
Yeah, perhaps one of the few lucky ones.
Yeah.
I was appointed June 2012 by the board. That time His Excellency, the late Atta Mills was there. And then later His Excellency John Mahama came and allowed me to continue.
Okay.
And then when there was a change in the government, the current president, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, also allowed me to continue. And then to complete my term. Even at the end of my term, he went ahead to appoint me as a board chair for one of the subsidiaries of GOIL.
Interesting. So you are now a board chair for that
I'm now
subsidiary.
the board chairman for Go Energy.
Okay.
The BDC of Goil.
Okay, that's a lot to learn, because also from that program there, your board chairman, Honorable Kwame Nabatels, mentioned that if he gets the opportunity again the next time, you will still be appointed as a board chair of another organization. So it looks like there's a lot of goodwill for you cutting across political regimes, and we'll learn from you how that happens, aside all the other things you were able to do whilst you were CEO of GOIL. However, like I said earlier, GOIL folks, everybody are GOIL, from board chairman to everybody. Everybody says, let the country know the story of our son. So take a listen to this story of the man who is seated in the studio. When we return, we'll delve into him.
Ecclesiastes 9 verse 10. Whatever your hand finds to do, do it with your might. And Colossians 3 verse 23. Whatever you do, work heartily as for the Lord and not for men. It is the desire of God that every man lives to the expectation of these biblical verses. If there is a living Ghanaian who embodies patriotism, discipline, tradition, hard work and success, many fingers will undoubtedly be pointing to Patrick Kwame Akpe Akoli.
I believe in serving the state. So everything that I do, especially once I'm occupying a public office and coming from a background of a chief, I want to treat all people equal. I want to give back to society. I want to serve my country as a patriot. That has been my driving force.
Patrick Kwame Akpe Akoli is the immediate past managing director and group CEO of GOIL Company Limited, Ghana's leading oil marketing company, and currently the board chairman of Go Energy, a subsidiary of GOIL Company Limited. He was born in a rural town of Ziavi in the Ho municipality of the Volta region in Ghana on 21st November 1959 to his rural parents, the late William Kojo Akoli and Nancy Aku, who hails from Akrofu in the Ho municipality. He had his basic education at the Ziavi EP Primary School and proceeded to LA Middle School, all in Ziavi, the village where he was born. Raised in a poor countryside environment, Patrick Akoli has always referred to himself as a rural or village boy, an attribute he still doesn't mind ascribing to himself, even though today he has risen to be one of the most successful CEOs Ghana has ever had and a public figure. Typical of the situation during his generation, Patrick had to live with members of his external family at some point in his formative years.
So after school, he goes out as it is today, going out selling fish or kinky in the morning and fish in the afternoon after closing from school. But I think when we saw him in those days, as you see now, when we went back and looked at his behavior, it means God was preparing him to be here, to this level at this day.
And as common a practice of a usual rural Ghana environment, the young Patrick traveled several kilometers always to fetch water before preparing for school. He equally engaged in several duties domestically, including farming, palm wine tapping and selling kenke on the streets of Ziavi, sometimes before going to school and after school, and occasionally also engaged in communal labor for a living. Patrick's friends recount that they enjoyed their childhood, seeing the young Patrick playing and demonstrating great intelligence and leadership, even at that basic stages of life.
He was our best in school. Nobody can beat him. From class 1, he led us number 1 in exam until we go to Form 4. Even in the middle school, when we finished those days, there were only 2 that got a distinction.
He started these leadership skills not now.
Not now.
From our time.
From childhood.
He was our chairman. After this thing, we will say, we will carry him.
As demonstrably successful as he has proven himself to be, Patrick Akoli surmounted the odds of living in rural Ghana, a factor which contributed to his inability to undertake secondary education and opting for a teacher's training college instead. Patrick began his adult life and professional career first as a trained teacher by attending the Amajofa EP Teacher Training College in the Volta region. At a very tender age, due to his firm belief in tradition and love for his people and community, he was installed as a chief of the Ziavi traditional area. Patrick Akoli fondly recounts how he was embarrassed by a former schoolmate who thought that he had greater potential that would benefit the entire country than only concentrating on his chieftaincy role at the village.
Then I met a schoolmate of mine from IPS. So he called me Patrick. I said, George, don't call me Patrick again. I said, what? Patrick, what is wrong? I said, oh, I'm now a chief. I was happy that I was a chief. Then instead of George, showing that kind of excitement and everything, George started reprimanding me. Oh, Patrick, before all this intelligence and everything, you went back to your village as a chief. Look at me, I chatted. I'm a chartered accountant, and we expect you to have chatted before us. And then you stop on the way, you say you are a chief. I felt so downhearted. So when I returned to Accra, I just told my wife, that time I had married, that I was stopping the job. I said, why? Why would you quit? I said, no. The embarrassment I got from Accra, I wasn't going to face it. I don't know how I'll be facing it in future. The next morning, I went to our headmaster, Mr. L.Y. Hagan, late. And I told, Master, I'm stopping the job. He opened his mouth and said, what? Why would you leave? I tried to explain, but he wouldn't even understand it. Then, the next week, I put in my resignation.
Nonetheless, he still held firm to his traditional leadership role and performed it with dexterity. And his people have ever since been appreciative of Patrick Akoli's stewardship as a chief.
They see him as a born leader, and they see him as a God gift to the community. Because with him, a lot of programs have been fulfilled in the community. There is progress, not as before when things were just dormant.
We as a family, we are proud of him, and we feel we are blessed. That is our king.
All the primary or basic schools in our community is a very traditional area. You go to the schools and you see desks, dual desks or mono desks, names written, Ajani, Tobu Ajani, Tobu Ajani. He produced all those things. But I saw the difficulty in traveling from here to other places for this thing. So he and I, together with my chiefs and elders, the stakeholders of the community, said, no, we shall establish a senior secondary technical school in our community. He is one of the strong pillars in the development of that school. 2014-2015 academic year, we started that school and it is there now.
After teaching in the Volta and Central regions, he gained admission to the then Institute of Professional Studies, IPS, and now University of Professional Studies, UPS, where he studied accounting and subsequently qualifying as a professional accountant, thus becoming a member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants, Ghana, ICAG. Patrick Akoli also holds an executive MBA from Ghana Institute of Management and Public Administration, GIMPA, and is an alumnus of the Energy Institute, Cambridge, and the International Bunker Industry Association, UK. Combining his teaching and now accounting professional background, Patrick Akoli then later moved to work at the Mauli Secondary School, Ho, as a school bursar. Later on in life, the passionate professional teacher abandoned his first love of teaching as a career when he changed jobs to have a short stint working with Kwanzaa, Nyame & Co., an accounting firm. Like most life journeys, things were not going to be smooth and perfect for him always. The low moments began to set in at some point.
The whole of 92, I was without work in Accra, and life was tough because I had exhausted all my savings.
However, along the line, as destiny would have it, God introduced Patrick to one of his channels of blessings. And guess who it was? The late Kojo Ba Redu of blessed memory, a former member of parliament and minister of finance.
When I met Honorable, that time he was not even, he was not an MP. So, where are you? How's life finding you? I said, oh no, still in the house. They said, oh, there's a position in GOIL. I mean, go and sort their things with them.
In 1996, Patrick Akoli was employed at GOIL, initially as an assistant accountant. By dint of hard work, which at this point in his life had gradually become synonymous to his name, in addition to his firmness and attention to detail, Patrick Akoli rose rapidly through the ranks, first as a chief accountant, treasurer, and later as the chief internal auditor. Patrick Akoli was again promoted to the post of finance manager, a position he served from 2008 to 2012.
I was rising, and then I was very young, rising. I went under Right Honorable Sechigus, who became the speaker. He was the chairman of GOIL between 2001 to 2005. So he actually recognized my potential first, because anytime you can say, oh, young man, I've been reading your reports. Hey, why? So he actually gave me the first promotion to become a management member.
On the 1st of June 2012, Patrick Kwame Akpe Akoli, the young village boy, born and bred in an undisputedly rural poor part of Ghana, would rise, brave the odds, and be appointed as the managing director of the only state-owned oil marketing company in Ghana. As managing director of GOIL Company Limited, Patrick Akoli's unalloyed patriotism and desire to see the growth of Ghanaian businesses was evidently demonstrated throughout his leadership role.
He's very observant. He's very sharp. You may not notice him noticing you until at the right time he points it out what he has observed. So it is his discipline. The cultural leadership also has impacted greatly on him.
He has always believed that Ghanaian talents can be fully harnessed to drive the national economy.
GOIL was built by the workers. I don't see anybody saying, I've been GOIL, I'm in my 25th year. We didn't get any grant from anywhere.
Fortunately for him, he always enjoyed a lot of support from the board, management and staff of GOIL to pursue such a drive which saw him excelling in growing the best human resource for GOIL. At GOIL, he is seen to be the darling boy and a unifier who brought everyone under a common umbrella to forge a goal to achieve the best for the organization.
He is a fantastic manager, a consensus builder, one who is in total control of the entire business.
He worked tirelessly, and I could see that one thing about him was he understood the industry very well, continue to learn, continue to teach, continue to share. And the people that he worked with all of me, they were very honest, straightforward, extremely cooperative with others that he was working with.
His acumen as a finance person is, to me, virtually unrivaled. He looks at situations, predicts and warns, and almost invariably his predictions come through.
He's one of a visionary. He's one of a people person. He's one of, I believe in Ghana, and I believe every resource can be developed in Ghana. He high degree of integrity.
An unassuming personality. I admire that guy. You know, so you can see that yes, an accountant, but he loves the brand, and he would want to see the brand being festooned.
Not only is he
a Ghanaian, but he's a nationalist. And the few interactions I have had with him personally, it usually leaves me with the hope that indeed all is not lost in this country and there are still a few good men. If I have to count 10 outstanding Ghanaians for the last century, I wouldn't hesitate to mention Patrick Akoli for the immense contribution he's made to the Ghanaian petroleum downstream.
His background really helped. Of course, he's a chartered accountant, but the bottom line is he's a Ghanaian at heart, very local person.
He was one person who was very thorough in whatever he does. He maintained a very cordial relationship with staff, all the staff in the department. He was very modest.
Indeed, his leadership style and love for his country Ghana, coupled with the support obtained from management, staff and the board of directors of GOIL, is said to have done a great trick that made a lot of difference in transforming the nation's oil marketing company for the best in history.
The synergy between the board, the management and the staff is amazing.
At the time he was taking over as the managing director of GOIL, the company ranked number 3 best oil marketing company in Ghana. Together with a supporting team, the Patrick Akoli-led GOIL raised the status of the company from the number 3 ranked best oil marketing company to a number 1 oil marketing company in Ghana.
I told my team that there was work to be done. That I believe by the time I finish my term would have become a formidable number 1.
We are the oil company
Indeed, many of his compatriots say his work ethics and principles interrelated vividly with the output he churned out as a leader of GOIL.
The humility with which he approaches the work and deals with people in the workplace is amazing.
Because he is interested in details and making sure every I is dotted and every T is crossed. Working with somebody like that is not difficult. You need to get closer to him and see what he's made up of, and there will be no qualms about it.
And he comes to the table with attributes from his background and the life experiences that he had gone through. I mean, can you believe that he was a pupil teacher at a point in time?
The man that some of us have come to know over the past couple of years is one Ghanaian that believes that it can only get better. And he has demonstrated through sound management practices at GOIL.
To some, he was a workaholic.
He was a workaholic. In fact, what will stay with me is this proverb that he gave, and it is always something that we all in management and every staff, you can ask, it says, when the one chasing you has not stopped chasing you, you also don't stop running. What it means that we don't have to be complacent. So far as you have competitors, you are in competition. You are number 1, and people are chasing you. You don't relax, because the day you relax, that's your end.
To others, it was a passion.
I won't call him a workaholic, because a workaholic is the type who will stay late in the office and not go home on time. Come in very early and stay late. He's not that type of person. But once he's behind his desk, he's there to work. He makes sure that he clears his desk. That is his policy.
I wouldn't use the word workaholic, but he worked hard. But he knew when to rest.
He personally saw his organization as his entire life, therefore valued and nurtured it as such.
Especially emotional when the something that touches, that is likely to touch on the business in one way or the other. He gets emotional at times. And when he becomes emotional, it's like somebody losing a baby or something.
For many watchers of his progress in industry as a leader, his strong ties to tradition and culture, coupled with patriotism and belief in the Ghanaian spirit, was his trump card.
He worked hard, he understood the industry, he knew what was happening there, and worked very hard to change the force. And soberly knew, could read what was happening, could compete with others. And every marketing company in that sector looked up to Goyle.
I'm not surprised that he came on and had done what he has been able to do.
This is one fellow who rose from the ranks, and yet you have not heard of anybody who has taken qualms with it.
He's the sort of person who needs to get your viewpoint, add it to his, and move on with it.
If there is a leader that deserves any order of the Volta this year, next year, any other day, Patrick Akoli deserves it as any other Ghanaian would. I doff my hat off to him.
These attributes helped to position Goyle as a proud indigenous #1 oil marketing company, significantly contributing to the stability of the downstream sector of the oil industry.
He was one that I immediately recognized that Goyle had a very bright future in him, because he was, first of all, very patriotic and very determined.
One can only wonder how Patrick could balance his family life with work, since he served on the boards of several companies, including the Temalube Oil and the Metro Mass Transit Company, aside his daunting duties at Goyle.
It's about Goyle. I wake up, it's about Goyle. It's affected my family life, honestly.
Alo alok blodo tainema eseye sufenya siavena ekalia okwe ade.
Patrick Akoli operated a very transparent administration at Goyle and always expecting the best from his colleagues and staff. He has led the company to win several awards in the last 4.5 years. In the last 2 years alone, Goyle was adjudged #2 best company on the list of the prestigious Ghana Club 100, best listed company on the Ghana Stock Exchange, best petroleum company by the Chartered Institute of Marketing Ghana, Ashanti Excellence best petroleum company, COPEC overall best petroleum company, COPEC best brand oil marketing company, COPEC best fuel quality, Business Quality in Oil and Gas Award, CIMG Hall of Famer, among many others. Patrick Akoli led Goyle to initiate a number of policies and projects that has boosted the company's resilience in the downstream sector. All these achievements earned Patrick Akpe Kwame Akoli the Marketing Man of the Year in 2015 by the Chartered Institute of Marketing Ghana, CIMG.
The first time in the history of Ghana, he was adjudged the Marketing Man of the Year. We will forever cherish that.
Within a very short period, we've seen different things happening in Goyle. Offshore, lubricants, bitumen, so many things coming up. And it takes the CEO's own drive to get these things to work. But in as much as he wants it done, he makes sure that other people play their role. He doesn't keep it all to himself.
He's credited for transforming this head office building. He's credited for the adjoining head office block that's he was the one who spearheaded it. And when the opportunity came, he said, look, let's go for it. You just go to Kumasi and go and see the edifice, the zonal office, that office block that has been put up in Kumasi. It will amaze you. He has spearheaded one in Tamale as well. Almost similar to what we have here in the head office.
And of course, within the context of, for me, I stand for Ghana. For me, I think we can prove that a Ghanaian homegrown brand like a Goil can stand at par with any international OMC and more. I think that's a high achievement.
Goil, under his leadership, enhanced its quality significantly, improved service delivery, constructed marine gas oil tanks at the port of Takoradi and the Sekandi Naval Base, and established a bitumen plant among many other initiatives. Another major feat in his time at Goil was to grow the asset base of Goil, that has made it very attractive to international partnerships, as Goil landed a major deal of signing a partnership agreement with ExxonMobil.
One more achievement that cannot go without saying, the ExxonMobil deal. The ExxonMobil deal. I would say that he was the driving force behind it.
Patrick Akoli is of the opinion that every employee of an organization should understand the signs of growing a company. He says he hopes to avail himself for any opportunity that is serious enough to accommodate his nature. As the strong pillar of Goil exits to give way for a new order, he and his compatriots have messages for Goil.
The brand Goil is strong because Ghanaians make it strong. And it would even get stronger if they put Ghanaians at the center of the brand. Whatever decisions, whatever policies they embark on, we would want to see the Ghanaian at the heart, the center.
You've done a good job, especially for winning the CING Petroleum Company of the Year for 3 consecutive times. Continue in that state. Don't be complacent.
In partnership with each other, we shouldn't see them at loggerheads. That's the board and management and the staff as well.
Goil is such a good brand. It's come a long way. It's done some amazing things, and therefore I think they just need to make sure that they consolidate and strengthen it a lot more.
Ray, what better known in a penny for a woman, and then Menana. I console Baba Twasso, consuming no, I would dear one more. One in your back, one church and Mudio, and also Twasso, no one your man in your year.
I cannot end my speech without acknowledging the yeoman's role played by my predecessor, the icon of Goil, Mr. Patrick A.K. Akoli.
It was indeed a colorful sight to behold when residents of Ziavi welcomed him after his end of service as Chief Executive Officer of Goil. Dignitaries such as the Minister of Energy, John Peter Ameu, Chairman of the New Patriotic Party, Freddie Blay, Volta Regional Minister, Dr. Archibald Lecha, and the Paramount Chief of Ziavi Traditional Area were all present. The entire Ziavi Township again held a massive durbar to honor their illustrious son. In the active professional career of Patrick Kwame Akpe Akoli, also known as Togbi Ajanye, the young village boy, palm wine tapper, kenke and firewood seller from Ziavi, who dedicated his life as a teacher, accountant, marketer, managing director, CEO, entrepreneur, motivational speaker, a chief, a nationalist, and above all, a family man. Many will undoubtedly miss his role as the icon of GOIL, managing director and CEO, quite dearly, but at all times, wish him the best of grace as he journeys on.
Well, so that's an extensive one coming from the people of GOIL. Almost everyone at GOIL says you needed to know the story of one of their own former CEO as well as former MD of GOIL Company Limited. And he's in the studio with me. Welcome to have the national conversation. And then I'm sure if you have any message to send him, you can always do that. The WhatsApp number 020-552-8353, 055-901-9177. And you got one already from Mr. Agbaga. He's a former GIF president. He says that, I love this man. He's done so well. A lot of people should learn from him. Watching this, I'm even in tears. Tell him I'm inviting him to Nududu, my restaurant in the North Legon area. Me too, I'll treat him some. Okay, Toby, so welcome again.
Thank you, my son.
And we congratulate you. A lot of things being said about you from your people that you've worked with and all of that. But getting onto the national stage, before we even get there, you were saying that you've done almost every layer or every level in GOIL. Is that what I'm understanding it to be? You were a casual worker, you became also a junior staff, senior staff manager, chief internal auditor and all of that?
Oh, yes. As I said, I joined GOIL in October 1994.
So you've gone through all that?
A temporary worker.
Okay.
So I've gone through all of this.
I see. Somebody wanted to be sure, because sometimes the idea was that sometimes when you start as a casual worker, you think there is no hope. But you rose from that level to become the CEO, and now even a board chairman of one of the subsidiaries. I see. So let me first ask you, how important would you consider the role of oil and gas in national development?
Hey. Oil and gas. Oil and gas is the energy of any economy. That is why you get all these big fights in the Middle East, because the superpowers want to control the oil and gas sector of the whole world. So go to the Middle East, go to the South American zones where Venezuela and all other players are. Everywhere that there is oil and gas, the big economies want to control it. So it is the energy. I mean, it is what fuels every economy. For example, at the end of at the beginning of every year, when the government says the economy is going to grow by 8%, we in GOIL, we in the oil industry will also forecast that. Let's say our industry is going to grow by 8%. It's almost at par. If the economy grows at 5%, trust your industry too is going to grow at 5%. It is, I don't know how it works, but it shows that energy is so important.
Ghana, do we have that which the part of the oil and gas business that can turn this country around?
Oh yes, I think as early as 1989, Dr. Uriku Broby, he did a very good job at the Ministry of Energy at that time.
Okay.
They came out with a master plan. I was then, in 1993, I came to an auditing firm and I saw it. So we were auditing the technical unit of Ministry of Energy at that time. That's why I always mention Honorable Kojo Banridu. He's also a man of figures. You know, even at that time, there was this idea that Ghana should dominate the oil industry in the sub-region. There's a big master plan out there. I mean, so fantastic. As early as that time.
And currently, what's your observation of the level that we are controlling?
Well, currently, all that we are doing is that we just taking our share of what comes to the sub-region. You know, the sub-region is controlled by Nigeria. I go to a lot of workshops, and then you talk. But when a Nigerian talks, they say, well, if you are the, you are trying to be the entrance to West Africa. They are the real West Africa. You see, so they have...
Nigeria is the real West Africa. And we are trying to be the gateway.
We are trying to be the gateway or whatever, the entrance or whatever. But, you know, gateway entrance, you are going to the real economy because they have the numbers.
Yeah.
You see, so they have a very huge advantage. Yeah. But over there, things are not too smooth.
Okay.
So if we could take advantage of that and put in...
By doing what?
The financials. Transparency is the key word. You see, people think of the industry as, you know, a very complex one. But then, I can tell you, if you are very transparent about it, and the big players in the industry know that this economy, people are transparent about it, the monies will flow in. Because we have the plans, but the real capital to invest, that is our problem. So, you know, we've been seeing drawings and the pipelines here, this here.
But they are not materializing.
They are not materializing because those who bring the money are not bringing. Now, the government can't go take our teachers' money or whatever money to go and start investing in those kind of big infrastructure. We need private investment from outside. And that private investment can only come when there is stability.
Yeah.
When they know that when
we
they
have
bring
stability. As a country,
we have
peaceful nature of our country.
Stability in terms of peace, in terms of this, but stability in terms of macroeconomics.
The financial market.
The financial market. They know that when I bring in my $1 billion today, in 5 years' time, it is not going to be to become 500 million. You know, every investor wants to go to where he can make returns. So it is very important that we keep the macroeconomics of the country steady. That is the only way we can attract the big players.
Is there a particular policy that you think at the moment will be required for the oil and gas sector? If it is put in place, you think that it can seriously move that sector?
You see, it is a sector with a lot of risks. For example, if you go to the upstream, you know, somebody comes and says, I want to invest in the upstream. You know, if you're going to drill oil or whatever exploration is going to do, he's not even too sure whether, you know, the well that is going to drill is going to get fuel from it. And, you know, so with all these risks, and then you go and add other macroeconomic instabilities and things, you know, the person will not come. You know, we have one advantage. In 2017, we won this tussle between us and Ivory Coast. In 2016, I went to Ivory Coast several times. In fact, between 2014 and 2016, I was almost always at Abidjan. The kind of preparation that those guys were doing, all the big players were there, they have their shore base, they were just ready to go.
I see.
I don't know what is going on there now. So, well, people want to come and invest because the industry too is changing fast. We don't even know what's going to happen in the next 10, 15 years. Yeah. Because people are moving from these hydrocarbons to cleaner fuels and other things. So if whatever you have in there as maybe oil reserve, if you don't go fast, if you don't explore them fast, one day you wake up and realize that the world has moved on. Yeah. Although people say that it can take another 30 years. But then,
still, yes.
But still, there's a possibility. You go to the UK now, they are having intelligent roads. Intelligent roads means that roads that electric cars can use, even without drivers. So the world is moving fast. You need to move
You took an initiative around the Takoradi port somewhere around 2017 thereabout. You launched the marine gas tanks there.
Yeah.
What moved you to take that initiative and commence that particular infrastructure there?
Actually, we were drawn to the fact that the government then had a master plan. They said they were going to make a Takoradi.
The oil and gas hub. It's still the vision.
And then somewhere along the line, they said it was going to Atuabo. But I told my people that whether Atuabo or Takoradi is the is a real deal. To me,
you believe in the Takoradi
port. I believe in Takoradi port. So we quickly took advantage. I did a presentation to the board at that time that please let's go in there, because if you look at the showbiz over there, there's only some small space for these terminals.
Yeah.
If you don't go in and somebody else goes there, you cannot. So the board agreed, and then we put it there. And we are just lucky that government has come back to Takoradi.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of things going
developments
on.
Going on.
So it's a very strategic investment.
And how is it going for you? You invested in there, so can you share with us the returns? How are you benefiting? Is it going well?
We have two investments over there. One at a secondary naval base. That's a 5 million liter capacity, and then the Takoradi one is almost 15 million liter capacity. Now, all the big guys, Talo, ENI, and all the companies that are doing exploration, they buy from Goil.
Yeah.
And then ships on visit, doing commercial business, they all come to Goil to buy from.
Okay, that's good to hear.
And then we are praying that the port is expanded. Once the port is expanded, and then the dredge is done. Now big ships cannot enter our waters.
There in Takoradi, you mean? In Tema is better now.
Fairly deep. I think Tema is about 9
It's gone deeper than that because of the expanded port.
But that is the main port.
Yeah.
But where the berth is, for the oil berth, I still
okay, you mean the oil berth.
I still think there's a problem over there.
Okay.
So once these things are done, you have bigger
vessels coming in. I think the business around the oil will also grow there. And let's talk about deregulation, because at some point in time we all heard that if not for the regulation that Goil is involved in, we may have a chaotic market for the oil business, because then you would have everybody trying to fix their own prices and government is not able to regulate and all of that. But then Goil stepped in. You are able to say that we are selling 1 barrel at that, 1 gallon at that, and then everybody toes that line. How has that deregulation thing gone for you?
Sammy, that's one great achievement that I'm proud of. I must be frank with you.
You mean the deregulation thing?
Deregulation. We've been getting wrong since the GNPC times. Those days, GNPC import refined products for toll, and then there were government subsidies on it, and all the time various governments were running at a loss. At the end of the day, the taxpayer will have to come in to pay, and then toll took over. There were losses, toll debt. Even as we speak today, there is toll debt that we are all paying because of what? The subsidies. The subsidies on refined products. So it came to a point, the BDC concept was introduced in 2007, thinking that these BDCs, bulk distribution companies, will buy from the OTCs, and then the government will now take itself from it, and then eventually the subsidies will be removed. But by 2013-14, the BDCs also ran into debt because of foreign exchange losses. The government still intervening to intervene and make sure that the right prices are not set and everything. And there were a lot of overheads over there, which personally in the industry I thought were unnecessary. Big LCs were being paid to banks which were not actually helping. And at the end of the day, it comes to the taxpayer. Because if you go to buy from the pump, you are paying for all those inefficiencies in the system. By 2013-14, the BDCs were holding the then the government to random. You know, they said the government was owing them over $2 billion. And it came to a point I realized, no, our stations were running out. So I made a case to my board and to everybody that would listen, that GOIL needed a BDC.
Okay.
It was a fight. At the end of the day, we got the BDC.
Okay.
And that BDC that we got enabled us to buy direct from the OTCs. And then when in 2015, IMF said government should take itself from what?
The regulation of prices.
The regulation of prices. Government was then able to do it. And to today, it's been working.
And GOIL, you are the one leading instead of
GOIL is the one leading. Anytime it goes down, that's why I'm praying that this system works.
Okay.
If the GOIL system is not working, if things are not done well in GOIL, it means we go back to the old days. Because the
which would have been that the multinationals would, the other companies will regulate, play with the market.
But at least with GOIL in there, things are done in a very transparent way. And anytime we see prices going up, you see that civil society even agrees that this window prices should go up by 3%, 4%. Invariably, we go up by 3%, 4%. If they say prices should come down,
you bring it down.
You bring it down. Because
so you are regulating the pricing in the market then.
Exactly. But
that's a key role you are playing.
Take it out. And then you begin to see things. In fact, people from East Africa, countries from East Africa came to me and asked, Mr. Akoli, how are you doing it? These people have taken over our economies. How is
you mean the multinationals?
But I don't want to mention this too much.
Okay.
You see, and I said, well, this is the way we're doing it.
Okay. I think that like you said, that's a good one. If you are helping to regulate the market, it means that that's an area government needs to really focus on you, because once they lose you, we get into trouble when it comes to market pricing. The other thing I want to know from you is, at some point around 2015, 2016, there was a lot of problem with this. Fraud, oil production here and there, people taking advantage of the system, looting a lot of barrels here and there. And then along the line, 2017 thereabout, there was serious war on that. We got some results. Share with us that story.
I must say, NPA, National Petroleum Authority, led by my good friend Tampuni, is doing a great
Dr.
job.
Tampuni, yes.
Is he now a doctor? He's a lawyer, I know. He's doing a great job over there. You know, because of the tax component on fuel, the taxes are about 27% or so. You know, oil is a business. When you do it, you are making just about 10 pesos, 15 pesos on a liter. And then if somebody comes and he can avoid all the taxes on oil, and then he's going to make over 100 pesos. So people try to avoid the tax, and then use all kinds of means to bring in the products. And once they are not paying tax, you see that they can price cheaper, and sometimes they even end up bringing, what's the right word? Diluted products. The specs are not too right, but you and I, the ordinary person, may not even know. They find means of bringing them into the country, and then, it was creating a lot of problems, and the government was losing a lot of revenue. We reckon that the government was losing about average of $400 million per annum. And 2016, 2017, even to 2018. Now it's gone down a little, but still.
But there's some bit of it
still there. They managed to use all kinds of entry points.
How has that been done? And nobody,
this
the gatekeeping system. How is it?
I don't want to go there. It's something that you complain, then it dies a little. Then
do we just complain? Can't we do something about it?
Tampuni has been doing a lot. After all, he's the one charged to do it. But he needs the support of security agencies, the Navy and everything. But sometimes the Navy even want to move. There is no fuel, there is no diesel. So.
Even when GOIL is there, you've been giving them
we supply them, but GOIL to product. So at the point
in
time,
money.
we need the Navy to pay. If the Navy is not paying, GOIL may not supply. But I don't know the situations are today.
Do you think as a country we have enough capacity to engage in the needed exploration in the oil and gas, to that extent, compete with the big names that are coming up within the region?
What I'm saying is that as a country, the country as you said, we wouldn't have the resources to do the kind of investments that are needed.
So we need the private support.
Yes, no country does this on its own. What you need is a stable macro environment, and private capital will come and do it for you. That's what I'm saying. But so we are. I think once then we begin to get the numbers right. But if the numbers are not right, if there's macroeconomic instability, you won't see private companies coming. They will come. You say, "Oh, we'll come," but you can go and preach to them 1,000 times. They won't come because there are other countries competing with you.
And so, on that point, I'll be talking to you about a private partner that you were able to win to your side, Exxon. Shortly. But before then, people are sending a lot of messages, goodwill messages for you. This one says, Tugbe is really an icon. Our generation really needs to achieve much more than our fathers. He is an example for all of us. From one Edem Kwame Nogbe. This one says, Ohima from Tema says, wow, what a man, what a story, what a testimony, what testimonies. That, thank you, sir, for being so inspiring. Thank you, Iron Port, for having him on the show to share his stories with us. That's coming from Ohima. This one says, Daddy, we love you. You are the best, with love from Cottage Fresh. I don't know if you know them. This one says, I am proud to see this man, my uncle, play so much role to the development of Ghana. I'm really motivated. This is coming from, he says, Ziavi is proud of you. Salute you, Togbe. This is coming from Kuma Wisdom, Yom. I don't know if you know him. This is Aram Akoli. Uncle, we are very proud of you. Indeed, the transformation of your hard work into success meant a lot to us. May God continue to bless you. I am proud of you. So quite a number. Tugbe is really an icon. Okay, so this I have read. Quite a number are coming, and you can keep them coming. The WhatsApp number is 020-5528-353. No, actually, the WhatsApp number is 055-901-9177. The number that you can call if you wish to call is 020-552-8353. And talk to Tugbe, the icon of Goil, as the new CEO calls him. So, Tugbe, let's talk about ExxonMobil. How do they come in, and how were you able to win them on your side?
It was 2017-18. ExxonMobil took over from Hess. Hess had found some oil, and then somehow they sold the fields to ExxonMobil. And the law says that apart from GNPC, who has a carrying interest, a carrying interest means that they will not have to do any investments, initial investments. At the end of the day, when there is a success story, then they will be entitled to 15%, all those things. But there must also be a local company which must have a commercial interest of what? 5%. So they came in, and then they started doing due diligence. A lot of companies came up, and then they will look at your balance sheets, risk factors. At a point in time, they came to inform us that they did the due diligence on us, me in particular, and all my key management people, and then they realized that we are a very strong company with a lot of integrity. They want to do business with us, but because the state has so much interest in us, they were looking for purely private company and to do the business with, because GNPC is already a state company.
Okay.
But somehow along the line, we went back to the Energy Minister, Honorable Peter Ameru, to make a special appeal to him. That Goil is listed on the stock exchange, and we have 15,000 ordinary Ghanaians buying into the shares of Goil. So Goil is a Ghanaian company. So if ExxonMobil is looking for a Ghanaian company in the oil,
you should be ready to take up that job.
Then it should be given to Goil. Luckily, the thing went up, and then His Excellency the President agreed, and then the ExxonMobil said, "Fine." Already they had done their due diligence. They thought we were the best, so they quickly agreed, and we took over 5%. But people kept on asking, do you have the resources? Can you do it? And all those. I said, no. We are taking only 5%. Every JPC has 15. That 5% is a stepping stone. It will give us the opportunity to train our young engineers to get involved in the upstream. We are already strong in the downstream. We are in the middle stream. We need to be up there. If we are the economy is going to derive anything from this upstream business, then the local Ghanaian companies must be involved.
So to what extent is this partnership with Exxon going to boost your upstream dream, which you have nurtured for quite some time?
Fantastic. Well, I went to Houston, and then Exxon Mobil took us to, environment, teaching us, showing us exactly what they do or not, the training that they're going to give our people, the exposure, the geologists, the other young engineers. No.
Okay.
It's going to enrich the capabilities of GOIL. And I know it's a good deal. It's a good deal. And they are very sure of a success story. So let's wait for the next 2-3 years.
Recently, again, you had the, I think at that time you had left, the bitumen facility also open up. To what extent is bitumen so needed in this country that GOIL is venturing into that direction?
Well,
because a lot of us think that you are just selling fuel to us. So
I don't left. I was there when the sword was cut.
Okay.
So that was the time I was about to leave. But it was a dream that I nurtured. And 2014, we started talking to SMB Abidjan. That the government is doing a lot of roads, but as at now, no local companies is involved in bitumen, and all road works about bitumen. That is why some of our roads it's alleged that our roads are among the most expensive in the sub-region.
Yeah.
So we went to SMB.
And yes, they are not in good shape.
Luckily, there is a good friend, Nanam Mpabwahini. I call him Mpabwahini from Kumasi. He is the link of SMB, and then he quickly took us to SMB, and we have agreed to do this as a joint program. If it is done, I tell you, to help reduce the cost of building roads in this country.
Okay.
So it is being done now.
Okay.
The construction, as you speak now, is going on. So I think Honorable Commissioner Bartels and his team are doing very well.
Okay.
And we pray for them.
Okay. How long is this supposed to take to finish? Because we want to see our roads refurbished quickly.
You know, a lot of technicalities
have to go in.
It's a technical job, because if you don't do it right, then it becomes a white elephant. It may take about 18 months to construct, and then they started around last year around October or so. So
okay, so
let's say 2022 should be operational.
Okay. Comfort Sagba says, we thank God for your life and the good job done at GOIL. GOIL is really blessed to have you. God richly bless you, Tugbe, coming from Comfort Sagba. This one says, are we going to leave this man to go like that? Ghanaians, please, let's tap more wisdom from this man. Seriously, what a man. Wow, that's splendid, that's powerful. This is more than achievement. I'm so happy for you, for the fatherless and selfless job you have done for Mother Ghana. God be with you. May you live long. That is coming from Wanjata. And then another one says, okay, so we thank God I have read you. Hello, good evening to you and your guest. Such an inspiration. Good work done for man, for Mother Ghana and for man. May God's peace be upon you from Abofla Yevu Yibo. Says, these are the people we need in the country. It's not all the time that we celebrate politicians. We must celebrate the people who make our institutions work. So tell us the trick. You are able to work for all regimes. Everybody is praising you, whether it's political party A, B, C, D, or E. What should organizations do? What should heads of organizations learn from the practice you have gained from GOIL and what you've done at GOIL so far?
Well, Sammy, I don't know. But maybe it all embedded in my humble beginnings. And then I take every job I do as a serious job. I don't know. That's why people say I'm too serious in life. I don't have time for the job.
Are you too serious in life? You don't have time to chill.
Yeah,
to enjoy.
But now, at least
you enjoy small.
Yes, I'm beginning to relax. And you see, I believe that if the job is to be done, it must be done well. So my audit background, I'm a chartered accountant. Fine, but the job I like doing most is auditing.
Okay.
I like looking at numbers, figures. And then Goel, I spent 7 years as a chief internal auditor. That is the position I enjoyed most. Not the head of finance, not the MD.
Because the chief internal auditor.
The chief internal auditor.
You are looking into every number that goes out and comes in.
The CEO said something yesterday. That's the truth. Mr. Ajimandria, he was the MD for 12 years. He's there now, my mentor. He knows that if Akoli were not to be the chief internal auditor between certain years,
things wouldn't have been good.
That company would have gone down. I was looking at details. We were changing from manual system to computer system. There were all kinds of mess. You know, some time ago, you wouldn't want to take a second look at Goel. Our sessions were that bad. The cash flow was poor. The banks were not willing to do business with us, and everything was just there.
So your focus has been on the work. Yeah. Your eye has been on the ball.
I was just working. Luckily, my superiors were looking at me. I didn't know. I was just working. So from chief internal auditor, I became the head of finance. And then, so we begin to have a larger picture of the organization. You were an auditor looking at the details, the finance manager projecting, and then you became the MD. So one thing that worked with me was they knew by the time I became the MD, the actual workforce were around 290. There was no single individual that I did not know personally.
I see.
Their work ethics. So you cannot come to me as MD and then begin to tell stories about your friend. They say, no, I'll call you, I'll put you on speaker. This is what this person
is saying. I see.
And so it just, I don't know. And then I had a wonderful team. I will always continue to say that. They are professors, one of the best in the industry.
I see.
Yes. We have about 80 engineers. People don't know in Goel. Over 80 engineers.
80 engineers?
80.
Our own Ghanaians.
Our own Ghanaians. So who are so vested in this downstream industry. People don't even know that the Boss, as it is now, was built by Goel. The Boss tanks. I was the first accountant in Goel attached to Boss.
I see.
We were running those terminals between 1995 and 1999, whether at Buipe, whether at Bolga, whether at in Kumasi, and we're doing it well until Boss was formed as a company from Goel.
Interesting.
So we have a lot of experience in
so
there.
God elevated to CEO under Professor Tamil's. Your acting position was affirmed, was confirmed under Tamil's, was it?
I never acted. In fact, the board asked me to act.
Oh, and then you moved straight to...
I declined that I wouldn't act. I was the head of finance. And then one day the board called me to come and act as the MD. I just said, thank you, Mr. Chairman, Prof.
Was Professor Meni then?
Professor Meni. So I thanked him and said, no. How can I move from head of finance and become acting MD? And one day a substantive MD comes. And then
you are pushed away.
And then I'm gone.
So you said no?
I declined.
Interesting.
So 30 minutes after that, the board called me. Said, oh, Mr. Akoli, congrats. You are now the MD of Goel. I said, thank you. They said, go and do ABCD. I said, fine, I'll do it.
That one is not active, it's substantive, so you went for it.
Yeah, that was June. And then when my name was sent to that time the Flasa House, it was accepted.
Professor Atta Mills, okay. So you worked through John Dramani Mahama, and then when Nana Addo Dankwa also came, he retained you, and you've worked all throughout for him.
Exactly.
Okay. Somebody wanted to know how people can learn through this. People can work without looking at political lenses and all of that, which I'll pick from you. In the meantime, quite a number of news running around the world. I think I just pick one or two, and then also let you know the vessels that are coming in into the port this week, those that are already seated there, and those also at anchorage, and then the Bank of Ghana exchange rate you need to know to clear your goods out of the port. When we return, we'll summarize with Tugbe.
The rippling effect of the spread of the coronavirus is being felt across the shipping markets, the tanker and cruise sectors being at the front line. The impact of the virus outbreak is already being felt on oil markets as China, the world's largest importer of oil, scrambles to curb the spread of the virus while trying to maintain business activities. The country's oil demand is already down amid efforts to contain the outbreak, including flight cancellation. The Associated Press is reporting that 4 people have died following the fire on board the supertanker Zoya 1 last week, cited the Indian consul in Dubai. The fire broke out on board the very large crude carrier approximately 21 nautical miles northwest of Dubai, UAE, on Wednesday, 29 January 2020. The report said the 12 crew members were doing maintenance work on board in preparation for the scrapping of the vessel. It has also been informed that 40 other workers were on board the vessel, aiding the crew when the fire erupted. Workload stress caused by changes in regulations has been one of the 3 main factors impacting the seafarers' happiness level in the 4th quarter of 2019, just months before the IMO 2020 sulfur cap entered into force. The latest Seafarers' Happiness Index report published by the Mission of Seafarers revealed that, in particular, seafarers were experiencing mounting pressure surrounding inspections and audits to confirm vessels' compliance, in addition to the demands of day-to-day administration and paperwork.
So we are wrapping up our conversation with Mr. Patrick Akpe Kwame Akoli, former MD and Group CEO of GOIL Company Limited. We're assessing Ghana's potential to be oil and gas hub, and also looking at celebrating the man who is seated here. And quite a number of messages coming through for you, Tugbe. This is amazing. Tugbe, we are proud of you. This is coming from Tamale Iliasu. Well done, Tugbe. Ghana needs patriotic citizens like you. Your job has just begun. Ghana likes you. Congratulations. Edith, CEO, BNFT. Okay. You know her? Okay. And then my own personal friend and also colleague at the office, I call him Professor of English, Malik Adam, says, great man, watching and admiring him. We should engage him properly before Dangote comes to poach him to head his mega petrochemical industry he is putting up in Nigeria. Malik is afraid that Dangote can poach you. And Malik, he just doesn't speak. That man is solid. He's some solid English man in the port there. Senior Public Relations Officer. He says Ghana should engage you before Dangote comes for you. Goyle is proud of you. Mother Ghana is proud of you. Togbe Ayiko Meris Sagba sent that one. Okay, so this one says, my father settles the eternal debate between accountants and engineers in Ghana's major industries. It is clear accountants make better heads because they are about the numbers that leads to profits, and business is about profit. It's coming from Richmond Akoli. Okay. So quite a number. If I want to read, I'll go on and on. The other thing I want to find out from you, I know that you've been praising your staff and praising management and board, and they have been praising you as well. How was the coordination like between yourself, the staff, management, and the board?
Oh, the current chairman said it yesterday. I believe in good corporate governance. The structures must be followed. So the board is there to give the directions, the policy directions and everything. And you as a CEO,
had a lot of support from them.
You as a CEO, you need to listen to them. But at the end of the day, you know that you are the one in the driving seat. So I had a very cordial relationship before the boss that I worked with, the previous and then the current one.
Okay.
But I'm deeply grateful to them.
Okay.
As for my management team and workers, Sammy, fantastic. They know how I relate to them. I call myself a prime minister, first among equals. It is never the president. I don't like the president type where somebody is the boss. I believe in the prime minister type. We are all equal.
Yeah.
It's just that by chance
One is leading.
I became a leader. Because without the human capital, the human says no leader can succeed. Yeah. You may have the visions, you may have the dreams, but if you don't have people around you, you are finished. And they must believe in you. They must see you in the trenches with them. That was what I was doing.
What vision do you have for Go Energy? You are board chairman now there.
Well, Go Energy's fortunes are linked to that of Goyle.
Okay.
So we need, it's like a symbiotic relationship with that, because it is just a trading arm of Goyle. We get the force, we get it from the OTCs straight to Goyle. But we have a vision of expanding. And we want to go to the sub-region, sell more to Mali, and then more to Burkina Faso, where they have discovered huge mines and other things. And so the vision is to make a Go Energy a big oil, the number one BDC in Ghana.
Okay.
Yeah.
So as we end, your current team, what would you say to them?
The current team of
who have taken over from you now. The current team, you've left them.
Honorable say,
yes,
he has a lot of experience. He has been deputy attorney general. He's a politician. I have tons of goodwill for him. I'm just glad. Look at what he did yesterday. Yeah. The way he was talking about me. So I told him that Santini, who is my father, although he's from Ashanti region, I'm from the Volta region. But Asante Guinea calls me grandson. I don't know. He calls me all the time at piece of advice. He just likes me. So Honorable Secretary has become like a brother. I'm there for him, willing to give all kinds of any advice at all. I want him to succeed. I want the current board chairman, Honorable Peter Kwame Bartels. I want them to, because if Goyle grows bigger, I'll also be happy. Would I want to be in the house and see Goyle going down? Then all my toils and investments would have been in vain. So he knows that I want the best for him.
We thank you for your time, Toby, and we appreciate all the help that you have given us. Iron Port as well, you supported this program all throughout. And for me, just don't call me son. I've been your son for a long time, for 15 years now. You found me small boy at the gates there, and you've always been looking for me. I appreciate all the support. Sometimes when I come to you in ZRV, people think that I'm pure son, biological son. Thank you. We wish you well, wherever you
I also wish I admire you since your time of, the journalist of the year. You were very young at that time.
Yes.
And I said, no, this guy has a potential. I wish you all the best.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
So thank you for watching. We'll see you same time next week. Lots of thanks to the supporters of the program, the executive producers of the program, Mrs. Esther Jedidonko, Mrs. Nana Isi Sodobeg, also the producers. I see technical producers, Bosompra, Solomon Anderson, Larry, Gazy, Joe, and everybody, Robert Nyantichi. Thank you. See you next week.